share with us on what has been presented, and that is on mitigating the environmental impact of human activity, the triple helix approach. Please confirm you can hear me and you can see my slide.
Yeah, we can hear you and we can see your slide very clearly.
Thank you very much. All right, so the part I will take is I will do an introduction, then I will look at human activity in Nigeria, and then the environment. Then I'll look at synergy in action, giving Nigeria an example and opportunity. Then I will give the role of triple helix actors in Nigeria, then the triple helix solution to a number of environmental issues that we've seen in Nigeria, then share the benefits of the triple helix in Nigeria, challenges and way forward, then I will conclude. It's going to be very, not very lengthy because I was told I have about 15 minutes. So I'll try to see how I'll do it. I have a lengthy slide, but I will try to stick with the slide, not go through it. We in the country, we have a number of issues. And we've been trying to see how we can mitigate them. One of the things we've drawn, I think I'm having a call. One of the things we've tried to do is to see if we can use the triple helix to look at a number of ways as environmentalists will solve some of those problems. So
please, can you mute Wankwo? Because it's like the device is interfering with yours.
Okay, thank you. So we have diverse environmental issues. We've shared about the flood. Even if we think we need to dam, we still need to look at how such damming operation could aid the problem of flooding. And then if there are other rising issues from such flooding activity, we look at mitigating them. Some of the environmental activities that have environmental impact includes issues of spills when we are doing exploration or handling of crude from the point of exploration to the point of usage. We also see issues of gas flaring. For a number of times, we've shifted the post on where we will have flare out or commercialization of associated gas. So within some region in the country, we see the impact of both oil spill and gas flare. These are human activities with the associated impact. In other parts of the country also, we have issues of deforestation. And because of deforestation in some parts of the country, we have the encroaching of the desert. So we have desertification coming in and then taking away some land mass. In some other parts, we also have erosion issues. Some of them also associated with human activities, mostly anthropogenic. As also we move from regions to other regions, maybe because of career or urbanization, we see pressures being put on water, underground water wells, surface water, infrastructures being developed in those areas. Now, I don't know whether you've touched the Lekki area. No, you see flood. I don't know whether we land from there to see what we are doing at Eco Atlantic. So we see urbanization bringing in population and then also impacting on the environment, no matter how we try to look around it. At some point also, we see large volume of plastics flood the streets as we do after rain. So the plastics we know have these, if we monitor them, go into even humans, affecting our livelihood. So the inadequacy in the management of the packaging that we've moved from the traditional way of using leaves to package to now using plastics to the inability to handle them well it's actually constituted a lot for us. Of course, outside the anthropogenic, we believe that the climate is changing. We can put it on the climate. We can put flooding on the climate. But I think if we look back from some experts, we feel climate change is not just natural. It has some anthropogenic footprints on them. So we can actually also say that economic activities, social activities are impacting on the environment. And then we are exiting from the traditional method of looking at solving them. It's better we look at triple helix. I also think that we need to note that most of the time when people look for data, either they are not adequate or they are not enough. Some state governors might say, okay, I want to do waste to energy, and we don't have data for them. So we strongly think there's a need for us to adopt a concept called the triple helix. Now, when the triple helix comes, it brings the academia, the industry, and government, and it helps to see how to foster the strength that the three of them can bring into the table. And it also helps us to localize such, because if it's a university within the country, they do a research on that can actually be turned to policy, and we can ask the industry to adopt them. So adopting this means that we have a role from the informal sector. We also have the traditional knowledge, which can span from what we have within us. And then we have specific structures from the government that will help us do it. So in the main frame, what we have as a triple helix is the government, the industry, and of course, most of the time, the academia, which can include the university. So when we talk about the academia, we talk about the university, the polytechnics, with research institutes. When we are talking about the industry, it spans with oil industry, the manufacturing, agriculture, startups, NGOs, and local businesses. And when we are talking about the government, federal, state, local government, we also class regulatory agencies under the government. Like we said, the population is impacting on the environment. Our lifestyle is also impacting on the environment. Urbanization is doing a lot. Also, industrialization is key. Most economic activities are also, we're told initially what companies look at is making money, and they are neglecting both safety and the environment. But as the consciousness comes, we need to critically look at them. So some of the human activities we said that are degrading the environment in Nigeria, which we know very well, includes the extractive industry, mass urbanization. Extractive industry includes solid mineral, liquid minerals, gases. Urbanization could mean transition from some small areas or urban local government to urban areas, and that increases the amount of roads we might need to build, the amount of volume of houses we need to put in place, and that also includes transportation, which are key. And then putting pressure on the resources. Now, let's look at the key number of them and how they impact on the environment. Let's look at the oil and gas exploration activity. Oil and gas impacts on the environment. And it's important that outside just flagging the mitigational measures, doing compliance monitoring, that this triple helix will help to look at key ways of taking care of them. Compliance monitoring is fine, but that means something that happened before compliance will happen. Of course, you notice that in some part of the country, we are now crying that billions are being spent there to see whether we can mitigate what we should have taken care of before now. So oil spill is a key problem. It's an environmental issue. It's caused by human, and maybe we can swiftly look at regulatory enforcement and how it's been able to address it from onset, and why we are where we are because of that. Another key issue which we might start taking care of now, if it hasn't done that much, like the oil spill, is gas flaring. No. So the amount of gas we have associated with crude which we are not able to use most of the time, the facilities will flare them, associated gases. So there's the need for us to also look at what is doing. Like I said, we have the enforcement of 2030 zero flare target. We also know that the post is shifting a little bit. And I think that there's a need for the triple helix. I mean, the government, the academia, to critically look at solving the problem. Are we actually utilizing those gases? Things like that. Also, in the oil and gas, we also talk about habitat destruction. You know, when we clear the field, or when we are doing exploration and detonation activities, of course, you know, we watch the water, the soil, and the air. The flora and fauna in these areas are impacted, and then there is a need for mandatory reforestation, restoration, and most of the time we need to ask that it be clearly done. Other human activities that we feel impact the environment is also deforestation and land degradation. We saw this move where companies are moving woods out of the country. Some people say it goes to India or go to China or thereabout, but it's massive. We've seen trucks being held and we see wood being transported. It could be legal, it could be illegal, but we are thinking that there is this impact by human, which is also impacting the environment. And we bring it to this table here that what do we do within this triple helix to be able to mitigate that? Also, we have firewood, right? The use of wood as fuel is important because locally they can use it because they can't do the other one. Some are scared of using the LPG gas we have. But can we do something to make it greener? Can we look at it as the triple helix to see how we can substantially solve those problems? We also have unsustainable agricultural activities, right? Practices like bush burning, shifting cultivation without fallow periods, uncontrolled grazing, severe soil degradation, loss of fertility that are taking place. Can we as also a group look at what is happening in this space and see what we can do about it? Other activities that we feel from human that is impacting on which we think as a group we need to look at includes poor waste management and urban pollution. We see it as activities like indiscriminate waste disposal. You know that we don't, most of us believe we just have a few of landfill, well-designed landfill. So we critically have things like open dumps. And rodents can go through them, seepages can come, floods can transport them to other bigger water bodies. So how can we as a group in this triple helix look at critical ways of resolving that human activity, right? How can we mitigate it? We also look at industrial effluents. Most of the time when during compliance, you come to monitor them and they give you samples that looks clean. But are we sure that can we use this triple helix to also continuously monitor and see how we can improve if they are doing it right? Can we improve on what is being done? Lastly, on waste pollution and urban pollution includes waste management and urban pollution includes vehicular generation, vehicular and generator emission. Like you go to some universities, right? If you go to a place where they call their shopping mall, you see plenty generators there. Can we not just outside that, can we accelerate based on studies, accelerate the reduction of the carbon footprint from this point? And I seriously think that I can suggest a synergy between these triple helix to be able to solve it. So we have the academia. What would the academia do? The opportunities are there where research can be done. Those research can be in areas like waste to energy technology. We can partner with private firms to build pilot plants that can handle materials. we can set up areas like Lagos, Port Harcourt, and Abuja to be pilot scale. I will draw some of the lessons and case studies that have worked anyway. So if we have a collaborative effort from having the academia do specifics, not just doing research that ends up in the shelf, specifics where we can bring out drought-resistant crops, improve on irrigation technology, improve on agriculture in many of our regions. I think the academia can do this. Then what would the government help us do? The government, maybe through the Ministry of Environment, can partner with the universities on environmental impact assessment. They could help us shape up monitoring. They could help us shape up regulation based on local data. Like I said from the beginning, data could not be, for some places, I've had some people come from Germany and said, we need data of waste because the government met us and they want us to design waste to energy. So we want to know how the combination of our waste in the country so that we can design better. So I think we can design trainings as government that will help the research places in the university do better, rather than just doing a blind research that will not impact that much than just a certificate. And now, what would the industry do? The industry can do a PPP, and we can fine-tune materials that can go into renewables. And of course, that will mean a reduction in the carbon footprint. We can look at Naseni is there working, right? So we can look at materials that we can use for solar plates, develop our own homegrown solar plants, solar panel. That could help. And for that, there might be also the need to climb on the government incentives. Maybe have tax break, as the government will give tax break to industries where they are fine-tuning that which helps the environment. So the roles have been clearly stated, but maybe to drum them down, that in the academia, we can study bioremediation. How can we develop materials that can effectively take up microorganisms from the soil where there are spillages? How can they help us reduce drastically desertification? How can they help us develop homegrown green technology, right? For the industry, can we play a role where we have data on gas flaring and see how the academia can also fine-tune transiting those gases to LPG, to energy, to materials and all that? Can we look at core transition from what we call waste to having them as wealth, right? And then a government formulating robust environmental policies that will help us, and then in many cases provide incentives. The incentives might not just be money, it could be tax holidays, and also draw the attention of international collaborators. Like, there are carbon credit banks even in the country. Universities might not be aware, but if the university work with the government and with the industry and have things develop, such banks could give incentives for such work. Let me look at some case study as I will allow us to be interactive at some point. Some case studies that are working. We have a number of universities that are now on solar. Some of them include UI, FONAI, and so on. What has happened there? The rural government, the Rural Electrification Agency, has launched Energy Compact for the industry. Private development of solar panels have been done, and mini grids have been installed in those universities. It's targeted about 24 universities that are benefiting from them. What is the result? About 100 megawatts install capacity projects that will reduce drastically emission and also help the university students to have light to do more research. So the benefit includes reduction on the volume of, you might need to know that some universities pay up to 100 million per month on energy. So it will drastically reduce the volume of money paid on energy. It will is targeted to reduce about 70,000 tons of CO2 emission, and also gives a hand feel of what the universities can do in form of research. They are able to do research, and that will work. The second case study where these three can come together and give what is impactful and solve some environmental challenge. It includes what we have as the National Plastic Action Partnership. With that, you know that is seen that the country generates about 2.5 million tons of plastic annually, and only about 10% is recycled. So we're asking Federal Ministry of Environment, can they also look at bringing companies like Unilever, Coca-Cola, Nestle to invest on recycling, or what we call circular economy, because they are the polluters. So we have universities develop centers where plastics, instead of going, in fact, plastic is considered as a global problem, because if it gets to any water body, it flows to the ocean, so it goes global. So we can actually draw global attention and ask them. Universities can form pilot plants where we have recycling hubs. Unilag have started. We can also have that developed. So we have community like FUNAI have started also. And now the benefits include that about 500,000 tons can be recycled, right? 10 universities can plow into this research, and that can give as much as 7,500 jobs, including recycling activities and recycles around it. You mean logistics around them. The third case study is deforestation and land degradation reduction. Now, Bayero University in Kano is developing an agro-waste briquettes scheme. Now, it's targeted at 55% of the household depends on firewood and charcoal, and that is causing deforestation. Now, in academia, Bayero University is researching on converting those agro waste like rice husk, groundnut shell into briquettes. Briquettes are almost like firewood, but made from maybe sawdust and so on. And the government, through the forestry department, could liaise with Bayero University, and then some industry can apply into producing some material. So thousands of households could adopt a better technology, could adopt a better fuel, could adopt things that will reduce the falling of trees, and that will reduce the impact on the environment. Now, the benefits includes that briquettes could be used in place of trees. The briquettes are less help impactful than the firewood. What I mean, the firewood can release some emissive gases that could impact on users, but with briquette is controlled. It's also affordable, and like I said, is reducing the impact on our vegetation. The fourth case study, which is about the last, is on the case of sustainable mining. Now, the challenge there is that mining is increasing, and we know that it's both legal and illegal. What I mean, we have the considered legal activities, we have the unconsidered or unrecorded mining activities. So we can have government, maybe through PTDF, fund eco mining training, where local miners are trained, both small and big are trained on how to participate effectively in the mining activity. So universities like the University of Jos can deploy a curriculum that can help us do this. The impact is about 500 miners were trained, and they were given knowledge of how to effectively reduce the impact of mining activity on the environment. So 500 trained, environmental impact removed, issues of mercury leakage and cyanide leakage also reduced, and then its impact is also well managed. Well, I think I've done this before, but I wanted to round up with it, but to say that in just management of plastic waste, Nigeria will have students who may be looking for where to go for internship, develop even startups of app that could help us trace plastics. Research can actually be done on not just the plastics alone, but we can also look at biodegradable alternatives on them. But that must have helped us develop effective recycling technology, and then, of course, improve on the wealth that these students, or call them entrepreneurs, will be getting from them. Public awareness alone will also help, right? Like I said, the industry can also be mandated to have maybe 20% on your plastic production. That means you must use 20% of used plastics against 80% of virgin plastics or pellets or resins, instead of just using 100% of. So government policies can also help to do this. So as a roundup, what are the benefits of the triple helix? It helps us to share resources and reduce risk. I've shared about how we can use it to give students light in the university. I've shared also about how we can develop a homegrown data that can help us deploy environmental friendly technologies. So it helps us to be able to deploy resources effectively. I also told us that we can actually manage use of plastics. It is bearable that, of course, in many universities it's been done now, that they develop things that can be scalable. Start them with lab scale, develop them into industry use, deploy them in communities, and see how they work. They are homegrown, they are ours. So that's possible. Then also, we'll be able to develop what I call evidence-based policies. So those policies are based on what we have worked on ourselves, locally made ourselves, and then we see those policies grow. We see those policies evolve because it's ours. We're able to use them effectively. Also, it creates what I call green jobs. People work in this environment that is green, and we are solving real problems. Also, it gives cost savings. I've said the amount that we can use in diesels in such business centers can be deployed through using of solar farms in such business places, and people pay off, and you see reduction in carbon footprint. That's actually reducing the impact of human activity. Of course, I've said is it gives us reduction in environmental impact. Now, the challenge is my second to the last slide or thereabout. The challenge is we have weak coordination. We are not able to gather. So I think AEIAN can help coordinate adequate footprints that can help, where we see what is happening in the society. We devise means where academia can come in to look at that. We drum them out to the government to bring the industry to also see how that can be solved. Another challenge is that since we have poor coordination, I've said that weak coordination. Secondly, we have policy somersaults. Our policies are always changing, and there is a need for us to see how we can do that. Secondly, there are no funds. It seems there are no funds to do this. But I've said that both Bank of the Industry and carbon credit grants can be obtained. Big people like AEIAN can actually help in funding it, because we are trusted. The way forward, we need to institutionalize the triple helix. So universities, we need to be a part of it, and our agencies can be a part of it. We need to institutionalize. We need to bring it to bear and make sure and see it works. Secondly, way forward, tax incentives can be given to industries that are doing green R&D researches. Now, thirdly, there's the one we call triple helix plus or quadruple helix. That means we bring in society and community into this collaboration to see how it works. As a roundup, I need to conclude. Environmental challenges are there. We humans are part of it, and there is a need for us to be a part of the solution to solve it. Secondly, the triple helix shows a proven path. We've seen it in the solar system the solar system project that we've seen. Also, we've seen it. We also seen it in plastic recycling activities that we've seen. Sorry, you lost me in a moment. Sorry about that. You lost me in a moment. Okay, we'll also see the triple helix show proven pathway to solarization, plastic waste recycling, building of briquettes instead of firewoods, and then the eco economy, especially as it has to do with mining. We also can scale up models that are resilient and they are green technology that are homegrown that can help in creation of jobs and then protecting the environment. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. I believe the participant, we have had a nice time listening to Prof. He has taken us through the various aspects of the topic by starting by listing the activities that have environmental implications. President, are you there?
I'm here.
President, are you there?
Thank you.
Mr. President? Okay, so the Prof has taken us through various activities that have environmental implications. And he has also looked at the synergy that is involved, that is needed, bringing up various case studies, and which I can tell you that I'm also a beneficiary. University of Abuja now, the working environment is better because power is now guaranteed. We are also a beneficiary of the solar. The solar. Hello.
Ask the question. What is the approximate charge with someone else?
Go ahead, Prof. Go ahead, Prof. Hold on.
Okay, so thank you very much. So University of Abuja also benefited from the collaboration by the federal government on energy. And I think researches are going on better now in Abuja, courtesy of that initiative. I can testify that Prof has done a very good, wonderful presentation this evening. Thank you very much, Prof. Can we take the citation now, Engineer Nana, or we'll go for questions and answer session?
Yeah, moderator, let me come in here.
Okay.
Engineer Nana, I just returned from a conference where she has assumed a presidency, and she's still in motion. So on her behalf, I will take the citation of Prof. and also use the opportunity to offer a few remarks on his lecture. Professor Akuma, Professor Akuma Oji is an associate professor of chemical engineering in the Department of Chemical Engineering, University of Port Harcourt, with over 21 years of tremendous experience in industrial teaching and research, particularly in training, drilling/well completion and control valve engineering. He holds a PhD in chemical engineering in addition to other degrees and certifications. Professor Oji is known for his dedication, self-motivation, and result-oriented approach. His skills, work experience, and expertise traverses well development studies, that's petroleum engineering, drilling and well completion, chemical well instability, cementing, additives, development and testing, process instrumentation, P&ID, instrumentation designs, piping and instrumentation, crude oil assay, hazard, process safety, and several others. Professor G heads the NLNG Center in the University of Port Harcourt and is dedicated to training and education of young and experienced experts in the oil and gas industry, and has coordinated several consultancy and training services in refining, energy drilling and well completion, control valve engineering for several IOCs. He has facilitated several activities, projects, and training for MSM, WTS, SPDC, Con Oil, and a host of other oil companies. Academically, Professor Oji has served as a facilitator for World Bank's Scholar Program at the World Bank Center of Excellence for Oilfield Chemical Research at the University of Port Harcourt, Center for Gas Refining and Petrochemical Engineering. His research has produced over 65 publications, mostly in peer review and high impact journals and conferences in Nigeria and abroad. He is committed to raising young and expert professionals, as this is evident in the number of B Engine and BSc, MSc, M Engine, and PhD graduates that has been guided in the academic journey. Professor Oji is a registered engineer with Koren, a member of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, Nigerian Register of Environmental Professionals. He's also a very proud member of our association. And his skills and wide participation in industry, academics, and professional space makes him an outstanding asset in many spheres. So you will all agree with me that there is no better an erudite personality to whet our appetite, as it were, on this topic as Professor Oji. Prof, thank you so much for this lecture. We know we have given you a very short time. We want everything to be within an hour, and we also feel that when we have lectures like this, we probably should create time for maybe some interactive session. I know if we had given you a 1 hour window, you would have been able to delve deeper into giving us more details about the lecture. The triple helix method is something we should all imbibe. As president of the association, I can say that, yeah, within government and the university system, there's a lot that has been achieved in terms of triple heritage. I remember that in the past, the Federal Environmental Protection Agency used to have some centers of excellence in some universities. Some even had international recognition, like the one in University of Ibadan for Basel Convention on Hazardous Wastes. And in recent times, the Federal Ministry of Environment also has a project that dovetails with university and then subsequently industry, called the Space Project. It's a project that is designed to training environmental people in safeguard measures, and it's also designed in a way that the industry will be ready to accept these trainees. These are a few things that we have done, and thank you for your suggestion that there's a lot the association can do. In this year's conference, we are looking at, conducting some study visits to some very visible industrial facilities and projects, such that such that industry generally, can increase their participation in this triple helix approach. There's a lot that industry is doing. A lot of industries have research outfits. And if the academia and government doesn't help them to promote and utilize this research, the entire country will not benefit for it. Yes, some industries may just do the research to make their own products, much, much better. But we are removing issues on patents and proprietary. I think if we come together, both association, government, and academia, we can borrow from their gains and make it something that is useful for all, for sustainable development. Having said this much, let me yield the floor to our coordinator before I give my final closing remarks. Professor.
Okay, thank you very much, President, for the citation. I believe the participants can agree with the president that there is not any other better person to do this presentation than Professor Oji, and he has done justice to the topic. At this juncture, can I call on the participants who has contributions to do so? Can you indicate by raising your hands? Can you indicate by raising your hands, please? The floor is now open for comments.
Okay, coordinator, can I also just chip in here? I know the topic is a very, very interesting topic, and most of us participants are still digesting it. It's something that I think as an association, we will invite Professor Oji to give another go to this very interesting and inexhaustive topic some other time. In continuation of our webinar series, the next webinar that we plan will be on data integrity and research security, the hidden pillars of effective environmental impact assessments. This will be delivered by Professor Miriam Igo Ezekpe of the University of Lagos. Professor Miriam is also a board of trustee member of our association. So at this juncture, I want to, thank all the participants and then plead for increased interest in the activity of the association via our WhatsApp platform. Prof, it's like MD.
I was going
to. So
Okay,
I've given my closing remark. You can take the questions and then close it. I think MD wants to talk.
No, I was going to just, yes, please, I want to thank you for giving me the link to join this presentation, the seminar. It's a wonderful one, and it just takes me back to when at one session or one OTC, I was asked to I made a presentation on environmental challenges of the oil and gas.
Is that Ofebu?
Yes.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes, and that was in Houston. And that was in Houston. And it was as exciting as this. It was supposed to be a 1.5 hour presentation, but that ended up taking up. Someone volunteered his own space and said we should continue on that in Houston. And at the end of the day, it was surprising how people reacted, even the people in the industry, how they reacted to the issues of environmental challenges. We all know, and I thank Prof for this presentation, and we should take it further and ensure that at your conference, which hopefully I'll be able to attend, we should have a session dedicated to the challenges, environmental challenges, not just environmental problems, but the challenges of the problems, the crisis. Thank you so much for a wonderful presentation.
Thank you very much. Engineer Tukur Lawal. Engineer Tukur Lawal. I saw your
hand. Professor, thank you very much, Professor Ibuti. Thank you, my president. And thank you, Prof, for this wonderful and instructive conversation you took us through. You have really enriched our knowledge. Sir, you spoke about, I was very pleased to understand that the university already have started seeing the light at the end of the tunnel in terms of renewable energy utilization. I would like to see how we can, extend this crucial to NUC so that NUC can spearhead and get other universities to copy this and implement in the various universities. First of all, saving costs, and secondly, reducing greenhouse gas emission. In fact, today I made a presentation to the Society of Chemical Engineers on the renewable energy as a key driver for sustainability.
in steel manufacture. Therefore, I find this very, very instructive. So I believe it is high time we start engaging these organs so that where our bosses cannot reach, they should be able to table it at their discussion with the VCs, with universities, whatever they need to discuss with, so that they can see the benefit and promote it. So thank you very much, my leaders. Thank you for this, and I believe we all benefited from all these conversations. God bless you all.
Yes, Ogatuku. Thank you for coming over here. I was the one that read your citation on the other side. And you promised me and that day that you invite us to Fontua. You know what I think is that as a CEO, is it possible for us to open up the mall so that once we start doing it, we keep getting it better, so that lecturers can come and see what is happening and then proffer solution. I once told LNG, you can give us the research. You can also check what the foreign companies can do and see, in terms of bringing solution to what you have, and see how the two will play out. So my take is let the industries open up. Abroad, some of you who studied abroad, they give you internship. If you do very well, it's adopted into the company. Is it possible also that we see the implementation of such here? So a university department is asked to face this research over 3 years and give solution, especially as it relates to the environment. And then we see, you were talking about energy. I wanted to also tell you, there are lots of biomass in the north that you can use and gasify and get energy. And they are sustainable. You have them. So is it possible also that we do a research and see what volume of biomass can we get? What is our greenhouse gas accounting of it? And can we get a grant instead of, Prof said, former chairman said you should go to be a Bank of Industry. But we can get grants because we are having less impact on the environment. So that's my take on what you've commented. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. Got you.
Okay, thank you very much. Chairman, can you give us a closing remark?
Okay, Prof. Thank you. When I was hurrying to talk, then I did mention that I was giving closing remark. But as a formal this thing, let me just now use this to formally close this webinar. Professor Akuma Oji, we are very happy and grateful for you offering to deliver this topic to us. I also want to use this to recognize my colleague in our days in the Federal Ministry of Environment, Mrs. Afolabi. She has sent a message which I think everybody can read. There are quite a number of people here. I don't have the time to mention all of you individually and thank you. But like I've said earlier, please, our next webinar will be coming up very soon, and we will put out the announcement. So thank you, Prof, for coordinating, and thank you, Professor Akuma Oji, for this lecture. I wish all of us a very pleasant weekend. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Akuma. Your certificate will be sent to you. I have the certificate with me, a soft copy. So it will be delivered to you on your WhatsApp. Or can I have your email?
Thank you, Prof. Thank you, Prof.
Okay, all the best and good night to all the participants. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
much. Good night. Thank you very much. Well done.
Thank
you. Thank you. Good night.
Professor Guti.
Thank
My
you.
president, how are you? Longest time.
Good night.